where they came from, wherever. Okay, so always respect people no matter what their background is or where they came from. Raising family in the church is important. Great. Do what mom says. That's just good advice, period, guys, right? Always be kind. Show up for work. Never eat yellow snow. For those of you who don't know, snow is usually white. That's a good one. You may be able to fool others around you, but never try and fool the person looking back at you in the mirror. Very, very good. Always pay your tithes. Yeah, I sent that in last night too. Invest in guns and property. Goes along well with the one right above that. Is that it? All right, very, very good. Oh, let's see. Okay, good, excellent. So today what we're going to do, we're going to do something a little different. I've got some real dads who are going to come up and talk about being dads today. So I want them to come on up if they would at this time. We've got 3 of them tonight, this morning. And they all sort of come from different ages and different amount of kids. There's some chairs for them. And I'm just going to do a little interview with them today because I thought it'd be great for you to hear some of the dads who go to this church. And I know that what they say, because I heard them last night, is going to resonate with a lot of you guys, you men. And so I'm going to have them start by introducing themselves to us and tell us how long you've been dads and how many kids you have.
I've been a dad for 5 years, and I have 2 sons, a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. And I'm Ryan, by the way. Forgot to say my name.
Yeah, Ryan.
Hi, I'm George. I have 2 daughters. I've been a dad for 15 years. And yes, 2 daughters, Madeline and Ashlyn.
Okay, I'm the other George. I've been a dad for 41 years. I have a daughter and a son.
Okay, good. So let's start. I want you to think back, George, this is a long time ago, but I want you to think back to the moment you first heard you were going to be a dad for the first time. And what were you thinking? What were you feeling? What was going on for you when you heard that?
Want me to start?
You can start, sure.
Okay. For me, it was a very emotional time because we'd been trying to get pregnant for 5 years and had started adoption proceedings. And the woman that was in charge of that said, most of you in here in about 3 months' time, you'll be pregnant. And we said, no way, no, it's not going to happen. And we were.
Yeah.
So when that happened, it was just, it's indescribable.
Yeah. Great. And how did she tell you? Or did you just sort of sense together?
I don't remember right now.
Okay. I promised I would throw them each a curveball, one every service. So there it is. All right.
All right, I was driving to work, and she called me and told me. And I almost had to pull over because I was, like, freaked out. But it was a combination of being scared and excited. And just, it's the weirdest kind of news you can get. So you don't know how to react. So...
And was this something that was completely out of the blue for you, or had you been planning a family?
Planning. So,
okay, and so then there was.
Yep.
All right, George.
I remember just my wife, sitting down and telling me. I can't remember the setting exactly, but wow, it was very exciting, apprehensive, just a whole range of emotions that I can't really put into words, but. I just, it was just incredible.
Yeah. And it is a different experience for dads. Moms, as you know, you already know internally something's happened, and so it comes to us differently. And so to process all of that stuff all at once is always quite an adventure. So then let's think back to the moment you held your child for the first time, or each of your kids for the first time. Being in the delivery room, going through that process, what was that like for you?
It's a miracle. And
we got you last night, too, on this one. Yeah.
It's the greatest feeling in the world.
Yeah. And you were in the delivery room the whole time?
Yep.
Yep.
First time was a little scary because she had to get an emergency C-section. So
yeah,
it was like, I was terrified, like the scariest I've ever been in my life. And then when he came, everything was okay.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. Yeah. Second time was much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the nurse telling me while Jan was in the room kind of waiting, she said, if you're going to eat something, don't eat tuna fish. So So you women probably understand that better than I do, but I didn't eat tuna fish. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a similar experience to Ryan. My wife had an emergency C-section, and what's kind of cool about it today was I was able to be in the delivery room, so I was able to see the whole process happening, but hearing that first cry and holding my daughter for the first time, it was just powerful.
Yeah.
And mine was totally surreal. We were in the room, and I was in the delivery room, and we were so excited, so happy. We were both hugging each other like mad, and finally the doctor turned, "Would you like to know the sex of your baby?"
So way back then, they let you in the delivery room, huh, George?
Yes.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's
We were one of
something.
the first.
Yeah, one of the first, yeah. There's so many things that we can talk about as dads, and our experiences are all different and yet similar at the same time. But what's sort of the joy for you, the deep-seated joy of being a dad? What do you like best about being a dad?
For me, it's seeing my daughters excel and succeed in reaching a goal, and seeing them work hard and persevere in getting it.
And tell us again how old your kids are, your daughters?
15 and 12.
Okay, good.
For me, it's the love they show you. It's unconditional, and it's unlike any kind of love you've experienced. Unless you know, if you're a parent, you understand that kind of love and respect they show you for now. Mine
Yeah.
are young, but so far it's so good. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
For me, my children are a little older. It's the self-esteem, the confidence, and sense of responsibility, particularly self-esteem and confidence, which I never had, and we both vowed that we would give that to our children,
Yeah.
and they've done it.
Good, excellent. There are also, it's not always easy being a dad, and there are challenges we face just because kids are human beings, but also because some of the things that we internalize maybe put on ourselves because we want to be a certain kind of dad and we don't always measure up. So what are some of the challenges, or one of the challenges for you as you think about being a dad and the best dad you can be?
Well, for me, it's making sure I spend time with them, and that's probably the biggest challenge. The other thing is, making mistakes and admitting those mistakes to my kids, and just trying to show them the one true way of living, and having faith and belief in our Lord.
I'm going to kind of add to his with spending time. It's hard enough being busy in this day and age as it is, and then you have all these distractions that can take you away from, spending quality time, like your phone, your computer, TV, all that stuff. So for me, I've learned that when I'm when I have a day with my boys, I just take my phone, turn it off, turn the computer off, try to really focus on them, because it's so easy to be like, oh, someone text me, I gotta check my phone. What's going on? Well, Facebook, what's going on today? It's like, in the end, that kind of stuff really doesn't matter. You never get that time back. So,
Right.
Spending time for me is the same issue. I found that particularly because I didn't have a father that mentored me very well in sports or athletics. So when we found out we were going to have a son, I was terrified. I thought, okay, how am I going to be able to do this? What am I going to be able to give him? And I just went to every sport he participated in and was there and supporting him. And he told me later on, that's all you needed to do.
Yeah. Now, George, you're how old?
75.
75. So this guy, he says he never played sports or anything, but he's always there every Tuesday with the LPE kids and playing basketball on the basketball court with them at 75 years of age. And I keep telling George, when I grow up, I want to be like George. Yeah. I know one of the things that a lot of us grandparents learn, but grandpas, is it's not that big a deal. When we're parenting, everything, every second matters, right? And you're just afraid you're going to make a mistake. And when you're a grandparent, of course, you don't have full responsibility, but you realize we've been down this road once before and we survived, and you know, it's okay. It's not that big a deal. But the challenge, of course, for guys, and it's true for women now, but for guys, because we're wired to work and we're wired to succeed, we're on this track where we're trying to raise our kids, we're trying to provide for our families, and we're working and we're moving up whatever ladder we're moving up in our jobs. And all of that stuff hits at one time. And it's hard for guys to sort all of that out. The guilt, the pressure that guys feel, we don't talk about it, but that we feel to work hard, to provide for our families, to have a good job, and spend time with our spouses, spend time with our kids, can be pretty overwhelming. And women feel that, all of that stuff too, but in a different way than guys do. If you were to give one word of advice to a first-time dad, a guy who's just become a dad in the last couple weeks, couple months, what would that advice be?
If I could go back and visit myself as pre-Dad Ryan, I would say, you will never sleep again. And even after the newborn stage, my 5-year-old still wakes me up like twice a night, you know, and it just doesn't seem like it's going to ever end. So, got some coffee right there.
Yeah,
we're good.
And when they're teenagers, it starts all over again. Yeah.
I guess my advice would be to stay engaged. As my daughters are getting older now and kind of gaining some independence, to make sure that, you know, I just don't let them fly the nest, so to speak, and to really, you know, ask them about what's going on in their lives and spending time again with them.
Mine would be that you don't have to be perfect, whether it be in athletics or the most successful businessman, just to be there and spend the time with them.
Yeah. So the time thing, you know, is recurring, and all of us guys feel that, and we feel it deeply, and we're conflicted by it. But we've all heard it. You know, the guy who's on his deathbed says, "Well, I'm not wishing that I'd spent another minute looking up my Facebook posts or watching Game 7 of a basketball game. I wish I would have spent it with my kids and my family." And it's really hard when we're young dads to get that, because we're young dads and we're invincible and we're never going to die. But man, I've been a dad 36 years. That happened yesterday. And so, you know, some of you guys been dads longer than I have, so you know how fast that goes. One last question. How has faith shaped your view of fatherhood, or shaped you as a dad? What has it meant for you to be a dad who is a man who's empowered by the gospel?
I think it helps to look at it as God is your father, and how would God want you to raise your kids, like be there for them, be a role model, and you know, to show them faith and raise them in a house where you take them to church, you raise them with the Bible, and, you know, do what you can, but, you know, whenever you need help, God's always there too. So that would be my
Good.
I can go back to my father, who never really mentored very much to us, but the one thing he did do was pray, and he prayed without ceasing. And as I look back at that, that probably saved me from a lot of things I never realized.
Yeah.
So that's why I've tried to do that with
Very
our
cool.
children.
Yeah, very cool.
I know I grew up in a Catholic family, so we went to church every Sunday, and that was important. My parents modeled that well, but it's really a guide, and I can say one of the things that really terrified me as my daughters entered adolescence is, you know, how am I going to get through this period? And the church really helps. The Rites of Passage program that Grace puts on is just fantastic, and it's really given me a level of peace that, you know, they're really getting hands-on and attention and mentoring.
Great, thank you. Would you give these guys a round of applause? Weren't they exceptional? Great job, guys. Thank you.